I made that decision, and it really felt unlawful because all of my Yale Law School classmates, professors, except for one mentor,
What the
said,
hell are you doing?
like, are you insane?
Maybe we've been around it, but tell me, Jordana, what is your unlawful?
This is Unlawful.
So I will say my unlawful, it started with that values discovery moment. That was what planted the seed in my head of something's wrong here. Something doesn't fit. I'm cheating and doing a couple moments, but it's going to be a string.
Sure.
Then my thought initially went to, all right, in 10 years, once I'm the chief of a criminal unit, once I have kids, then I can step away and do something that's in line with my values. 3 years later, I was in a clerkship, killing myself for work that was not fueling me. And I was just thinking that 10 years is a really long time. And I asked myself, what is the only thing that is preventing me? Again, I didn't know what I wanted to do yet, but I knew that the shiny path that I was on and the life that I was living was wrong. And I asked myself, what is the thing? What that is preventing you from changing? And the only answer, going back to our conversation, was fear. Fear of stepping off this path, fear of rejecting what everyone around me told was far too good of an opportunity to pass up.
Well, I love that you were a clerk too, because the number of people who are trying their hardest to get clerkships or who just got a clerkship, who I have come face to face with in my life. And I said, oh, you were a clerk. Why? And they have no answer, right? Or the answer is because that's what all the smartest kids did.
I went into law school saying, I'm not going to clerk. Again, told you about the writer's anxiety. And I cannot tell you how quickly it went from I'm not going to clerk to who am I going to clerk for and who am I going to clerk for next? Right. And the judges that I was clerking for, what I was supposed to be doing was putting my hat in the ring for the Supreme Court. Not that I would have gotten it, but I was getting nightmares that I did, which is ridiculous. But to me, it was just that this is never going to end because there's always the next thing.
Yeah.
And so I realized fear of stepping off this is the only thing in the way. And that's literally never going to change. So I said, once I'm done with this second clerkship, I'm not going back to Davis Polk. I'm doing something else. And I made that decision. And it really felt unlawful because all of my Yale Law School classmates, professors, except for one mentor, said,
what the hell are you doing?
Like, are you insane? One person was like, is this about a guy that you don't think that a man will be interested if you're too powerful? Are you having, an insane breakdown? And I did it.
How belittling is that? Jesus.
Right. Yeah. And I did it anyways. And what I'll say, the final point here is now I cannot tell you how many of my former Yale Law School classmates, a decade later, including the ones who thought I was crazy at the time and shared those insights, have later reached out to me saying, how did you do it? And what advice do you have for me? I'm so unhappy. And not that they want to be doing what I'm doing, but they want to deviate from that path that doesn't end unless you decide to take control of it. And I'm not saying that end is anything in particular, but the end of just doing what you should be doing. And that for me is, if I can help people reach that realization earlier in their life, that they can be forging a path, whether it's in big law, whether it's out of the legal profession, wherever it is, that actually is because it feels right for them, not just because it's a should, then I feel like my whole story was for a good reason.
What about not being on the path at all?
Oh,
how do you feel about that? Because
currently not on a path. I've no longer because when people ask me, where do you want your business to be in 5 years? I say, I have no freaking clue, because if you would ask me at any point in the past 10 years, where do you want to be in 3 years? I would have been not only completely wrong, I don't think I even knew that the place that I would be existed in that way. I just had a daughter 8 months ago, which is the most humbling thing in terms of best laid plans mean absolutely nothing.
Of course.
So I am finally at a point where I am not planning. And this is what I encourage people, even in law school, I say, start going in a direction and then pay attention. Pay attention to what feels right, pay attention to what feels wrong, and actually allow yourself to steer towards the things that feel right, to learn and expose yourself more. And while you move away from the things that feel wrong, and make yourself open rather than assuming that you have all of the answers. Because guess what? I, wanted to be an AUSA. I wanted to clerk, go to Davis Polk, all the things, and I got them. And that plan was not the right plan anyways.
Well, that's the thing. When I look back at my life, the one regret I have is that I never wandered, right? Like I went straight to college. I went straight to law school. I came straight to the firm. I've changed firms one time, right? And it's been a direct sight. And for sure, my biggest fear, to the extent I have any, is that I ended up where I'm at because it was the path of least resistance. I was caught in, whether you call it, throughout the course of this Unlawful project, we've called it a fast moving train, we've called it a fast moving river, we've called it an escalator, whatever you want to call that thing that happens when you go to law school thinking, it's just a postgraduate liberal arts degree to, I have to get into a law firm, right? Yep. That transition is so fast and so indecipherable for people that they lose concept of themselves entirely, right? But like I said, there is this thing where at some point, and it happened to you, you end up in some location and you're like, wait a minute, when did I decide I wanted this? Yeah. Right? And that's a hard thing to break out of. But before I let you go, what is your business? How can people contact you?
So my business, I do coaching and training for lawyers, law students, legal professionals, and honestly, other high achievers who want to get out of their own way. And I really focus on how you can harness the power of positive psychology to not only be happier, but be so much more effective in your work, with a special focus on working with perfectionists and helping them realize that there is such a more empowered way of relating with yourself, your work, and other people that is not only going to feel better, it is going to make you so much more powerful and effective in what you do. And my website is JordanaConfino.com. You can find my blog, Chronicles of a Recovering Type A Plus Perfectionist there. And my email is Jordana@JordanaConfino.com. Thank you, Brendan. And this was terrific. And I would welcome the opportunity for future conversations at any point, because you are quite self-deprecating, but you have lots of fabulous ideas that, as you said, very much align with all of the things I'm thinking about on a daily basis.
I have thoughts, and I certainly have more questions. So definitely we'll have to follow up again. But for now, you have better things to do, and that's Unlawful.